So, hi friends, welcome back to Ego, the skill provider, and we are here to improve your communication skill, right? So, communication skill, whenever you're trying to improve your communication skill, vocabs are very important. Without vocabs, it's difficult for you to speak English. And that's the difference between an advanced speaker and a struggling speaker. A struggling speaker has a problem. He doesn't find words, appropriate words, suitable words, something called very at the whenever it is required. But whenever it comes to an advanced speaker, the speaker has a lot of words at his disposal to use. And today, our entire session is based on something called how to improve your vocabs. ମୁଁ ପ୍ରଥମରୁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କହିଛି ଆପଣ ମାନେ ସମସ୍ତେ vocabs ଉପରେ ବେଶୀ ଫୋକସ୍ କରନ୍ତୁ. It is all about vocabs. ମୁଁ ଗୋଟେ ଛୋଟିଆ ଏକ୍ସାମ୍ପଲ ଦେବି ଲାଇକ୍ ସପୋଜ ମୁଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କହିବି ଲାଇକ୍ ସେସନ ଯୋଉ ହବ ମୁଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ କହିବି ସାର୍ ଆପଣ ମତେ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ପଚାରିଚାରନ୍ତୁ ୱାନ୍ ବାଇ ୱାନ୍. So if you are trying to translate from exact Odia to English, you can say right now the session is over. You guys can put me question or ask me questions one by one. So look, this completely looks very boring. It's a boring English. याकू आमे टिके मसाला देकी जदी कहिबा इंग्लिश रे तो केमती मु कहबी गाइस this time is off for you to shoot me question. So this is something called spoken English. आगुरु जोटा कहउथिले that is called written English. Okay, and the same way suppose मु कहबी जे like मोर इंटरेस्ट नाही कोनोसी काम करिबारे बा पढिबारे इंटरेस्ट लागुनी किंबा मु कहबी जे मोर एंथुजियाज्म नाही तो एटा को हमें केमती कहबा इंग्लिश रे लाइक आई डोंट हैव इंटरेस्ट, आई डोंट हैव एंथुजियाज्म, but the same way can be said in spoken English. I'm sorry, I'm running out of steam today. So that is called spoken English. And whenever you are using this kind of words in your spoken English, you looks pretty good, outstanding. You can impress a lot of people. And why you are trying to speak English? It's not you are trying to use it at home. You are trying to use it outside to impress people. So that's my where exactly you have been stagnated. So मोर उद्देश्य होची आपण माने अनेक गुडे एडवांस vocabs जानतु. ओके, सपोज आउ जेमती गोटे कहउथिले लाइक गोटे बॉल टे पळै जाउची. आपण क्रिकेट खेल देखिथिबे लाइक बॉल टा अति जोरे पळै जाउची. You can say the ball is moving speedily like that, but that is called boring English. If you tell like, let me tell you the word you can use for the ball is moving just like a tracer bullet. That is called spoken English. So every spoken English जेतळे आपण use करिवे, I'm sure you can improve your vocabs and you can also speak, you can improve, you can you can improve your communication skill in many ways. तो ये जो communication skill develop करिया पई, let me bring that screen before you. Like this is something called the way we have been I have been teaching you, okay, from the day one. चारिटा जिनसो पर हमें focus करछन. Basically we are trying to focus on 4 things. One is something called error free English. Second one is called confidence. जो आपनकर पाउनथिला, you need to develop that confidence and fluency as well. And the fourth one is called natural English कहबा, right? So right now I'm focusing on natural. This particular class is I'm going to focus more on natural English. तो natural English माने भाबंतु जे माने किछि गोटे एक्स्ट्रा जिंस आपण करिबेनी. You are not going to add anything new. You are supposed to follow few things. Collocation आपण किछि क्लास करिसंती, you are supposed to use a lot of collocation. Phrasal verbs, you have attended some of my classes. Expression, binomials and idioms, ए जिंसोडा आपण frequently use करिया दरकार. And suddenly you become a native speaker, a laconic speaker, an advanced speaker, right? So today I am going to teach you. Yesterday also it was an idiom class, today also idiom class, tomorrow no idiom classes. tomorrow I am going to take a very interesting topic for you. So that is all about expression. किछि मु आपन को एमती expression देबी जोडा बहुत माने आपन बहुत भल लागियो सुनिया पय आपन यूज करि परिबे. But today I am focusing more on idioms. So idioms काली गोटे मु क्लास नै थिली आपन को already we are discussing about idioms based on your bad feelings, something called negative feelings ऊपर हमें कथा होतले. Okay, but today I am going to discuss something called like idiom based on transportation. तो केते गुडा ट्रांसपोर्टेशन वर्ड्स अछि जोडा कि आपण इडियम हिसाब रे व्यवहार करि परिबे. You can use the same, based on your transportation. Okay, so what are these idiom based on train, car and plane, right? So let's learn something called idiom based on car. कौन कौन अछि देखिबा. At the wheel. Whenever I say at the wheel, that means you are driving the car. Suppose you say, I'm sorry, don't disturb me, I am at the wheel. So wheel or steering wheel, we call it steering wheel or wheel. It is in a very essential part of a car जोटा कि control करे to change the direction of a car, and that is one of the most valuable part of a car. एटा नथिले आपण गाडी चलै परिबेनी unless until it is remote controlled. Okay, but when it is manually controlled, you need a wheel, just like your bike handle is required. For that is required, you know very well. Okay, so whenever you say I am at wheel, that means you are the driver, that you are driving, not driver. Driver and driving is entirely different. Suppose it's my car and the driver is absent and I am driving the car, that is, I can say I have completely employed a driver for my car. So that is a different case also. So at the wheel means I am driving the car. Let me give an example. I saw their car this morning, but I could not make out who was at the wheel. That means who was driving. I can give numerous examples like this. I would example do apan dekhantu. Suppose somebody is calling me off. So how can I say, I'm sorry, I might call me after some time. That is also possible. So instead of telling I am driving, you can say I am at wheel. Dekhantu, I am driving. Looks very ordinary. If you say I am at wheel, that means you are trying to say something. It is going to give you that much of momentum while trying to speak English. So what is more important means at wheel is something called you are driving. Okay, you are almost in the driver's seat. Okay, so this is the first one. The second one is called be in the driving seat. Look, whenever you're sitting in the driving seat, what exactly happens? You are sitting in the driving seat. You are controlling the situation. It's about your driver. You are something called controlling the situation. Upon what a situation to control person, right? Be it an event, be in politics, be in a company. There is a person who is always in the driving seat. In a company, we call that person the CEO, Chief Executive Officer. In a house, we call the head man. I can call my father as the head man. He's in the driving seat because he is controlling the situation. Whenever there is a rivalry between our siblings, between my siblings, my brother and sisters, my father controls the situation. So in the driving seat, suppose I am just running this show. So I am in the driving seat right now, you can say, because I am giving the lecture, I am delivering the lecture. At the same time, I do have the controlling power. I can remember you, I can add you, I can give you the access. So that is something called the driving seat. Although the general manager is officially in charge, the deputy is driver seat or driving seat. Both are correct. So basically, you say in the driving seat or in the driving seat. Okay. Life in the fast lane. What do you mean by life in the fast lane? Whenever I say life in the fast lane, that means it refers to something like a life that is active and exciting. Apanko life jetale exciting thibo, apanko life jetale we can say something called that it's very active and exciting. Suppose today you have lack of money. Whenever you want to do something, you are not getting the resources. So what exactly you are doing? You are controlling yourself. You are controlling your thoughts. You are controlling your desire. But tomorrow, suppose you are rich by 1 crore by bumper prize, or you participated something called KBC and you own something called 5 crore rupees as prize money. So suddenly your life becomes very energetic. You become very active. Socially you are accepted. People are going to respect you. You can do whatever you want. That is called, you can say, my life is in the fast lane after getting this salary. After I own this particular prize. Suppose you become a government employee, or you become a CEO of a company. Suddenly your life becomes in the fast lane. That means I feel that my life in the fast lane, because a lot of respect, you become socially very active, your life become very exciting. People praise you without any reason. You become the center of attraction. A lot of things happens, very well. So that is something called life in the fast lane. Okay. And the last one is very interesting. Doing a U-turn. You might be thinking that just like a road and there is a U-turn is there and you are doing a U-turn. It's not like the things. Doing the U-turn means it is just like changing the direction of your speaking. Let me give a very very precise example. Upon ଦେଖୁଛନ୍ତି, for example, I am a victim and Sonu sir has done something bad with me and I am going to put a police complaint. But suddenly, very next moment, we have an understanding between me, I and Sonu sir, like, no, let's don't go to the police station. We'll settle the case. I'll go there and tell that nothing happens to me. And that is called just doing a U-turn. Okay. And doing a U-turn is very famous in politics, in judicial system. Most of the time, the victim has done a U-turn in the case. Done a U-turn means, let me give let me explain you in Oriya. Apan buji paribe. Suppose apan gote complaint thile. You lodge a complaint. And apan kହୁଛନ୍ତି जो complaint टा करूଥିଲେ, you are trying to contradict yourself. ଆପଣ କହିବେ ନାଇଁ ସେଟା ହେଇନି, ମୁଁ ମିଛଟାରେ କହିଥିଲି ସେମିତି. I just told I like this. So that means you are trying to do a U-turn. That means you are trying to swallow your own words. And that is something called doing a U-turn. Do a U-turn. The victim did a U-turn. So do a U-turn can be used in so many different structures, but the meaning is that perhaps you told something, you are trying to, you're trying to negate what you told yourself. You can say, like, most people does a U-turn most of the time, because what they told, they say, no, I did not tell you. So that is a frequent U-turn happens in their life. And that's why, they are not trustworthy persons. So that is something called doing a U-turn. So this is all about idioms based on cars. The next one is something called idiom based on train. So what are the idioms that we can use? Just check it out. Run out of steam. So what do you mean by run out of steam? Look, lose interest and energy. To accomplish any task, to do anything, you need interest and energy. Both are required to accomplish a task. If you're not doing anything, or you are losing any of the things, then obviously you cannot complete the task. This happens right now. I find a lot of people, Sonu sir, Swagatika ma'am, Manoj sir, a lot of people are me right now. You have that lots of belly, fire. You want to learn something. You want to improve your communication skill. I'm sure you must have the energy and interest. Otherwise, when people are sleeping at 10 o'clock, you guys are sitting before me. I'm sure you have two things. One is called energy and something called interest. But whenever trying to lose both of the things, then you can say, I'm running out of steam. I'm running out of steam. I say, what happens? Suppose Sonu sir is going to log out. If I'll ask, what happens, sir? Nothing, sir. I'm running out of steam. Means I don't have energy. Sometimes I was very busy in the morning. I was completely tired out. I don't have energy left with me. Okay. My body becomes so sluggish. I'm not active right now. And I have no interest at all at 10 o'clock. So I'm going to sleep. I'm going to hit the sack. So that is called something called running out of steam. You can use in different ways, whether in business, in politics, in your job, you are trying to do something. Sometimes you lose your interest and don't do that. And that is called I'm running out of steam. The batsman run out of steam in the middle and got out. This happens. Suppose Hardik Pandya is playing. He's a super duper star. He's playing very, fantastic cricket these days. But in the meantime, he lost interest and got out. You can say run out him. So whenever run out of steam, you don't have interest and you don't have energy. Right? Go off the rails. Rails are there. You have checked it out. But the meaning is entirely different. What do you mean by go off the rails? Start behaving in an unacceptable way, unreasonable way, illogical way. Sometimes some of our friends, relatives, even our own people behave in a very awkward manner, predictable manner. Let me give a small example in Odia. ଆପଣ ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି, as far you know me, so I'm sober, I'm docile, ଆପଣଙ୍କ ସହିତ ଭଲ ବ୍ୟବହାର କରେ. But someday got angry. Then what you can say? Then you can say like this, oh my God, star has gone off the rails, gone off the rails. Star has gone off the rails. That means you started to behave in such a way that is not acceptable. There is some acceptable behavior in our society. There is some logical behavior. So whenever you're not behaving in that particular way, you can say that person has went off the rails. Or you can tell others, suppose I'm your friend and my behavior is not acceptable most of the time. Then you can call me by your side and you can tell, look, most of the time you are going off the rails and that is not practicable, acceptable to everybody. So try to mend yourself. Try to rectify your behavior. So like that, go off the rail means whenever you behaving in an unacceptable way, unreasonable way. Okay. Down line. Look, down the line means later. ମାନେ ଆମେ ଓଡ଼ିଆରେ ଯାହା କହୁଛନ୍ତି ପରେ. But ଆପଣଙ୍କ ମୁଣ୍ଡରେ ଗୋଟେ ଛୋଟ question ଆସିଥିବ. Look, later is a very small word. And I can easily understand and remember it. Acha, you are giving a long word down the line. So why should I use that? Look, later is a very small word and a very normal word. And I want to make you something called an advanced speaker. To be an advanced speaker, to speak just like a native speaker, you are supposed to use these idioms. That's all. There is no explanation for why you can't remember. So that's why the moment you say, look, 6 months later, we have achieved our target. You can say like that. But 6 months down the line, we have achieved our target. 6 months down the line, I want to put my company in a different orbit. 6 months down the line, I want to decide my future course of action. So like that. So down the line is a very powerful expression or idiom used in the business world, in the sports world, or you can say in political also. Everywhere. That's a very common expression. Please use it. Okay. Back on track. Look, everybody face a lot of failure in their life. Failure, success are just like two wheels, just like two sides of the same coin. Sometimes failure happens, sometimes success happens to you. Okay. So whenever failure happens, after that success happens, you can say I'm back on track. Let me give you a small example. Suppose Manoj sir has started doing a business and the business is started with 5 lakhs, something like that. But in the first year, it was something called a miserable start. And it was complete loss for him. But in the second year of operation, what he did, he rectified some of his mistakes or business practices he has already employed. And he started to make profit. Then he can say, I am back on track. My business is back on track. Back on track means to start achieving something again. You are a loser and you become a winner. So that is called back on track. Okay. So you can say after a miserable start, Team India is back on track. That means perhaps they lost 5 to 6 wickets initially and the middle order stuck and they've started playing good and then to piling up the runs. And that is something called back on track. This back on track you can use in different ways also. You are a businessman, you can use it. You are a student, you can use it. You are a office employee, you can use it. So it can use back on track means initially you face and after that you try to taste success. That is called I'm back on track. That is you are supposed to say like this. Okay. So these are four different things are required whenever you're trying to use train related to train idioms. And the last one is called plane. Be flying high. B means is amar. So whenever you become successful, you become I'm flying high. So anything. Suppose you have a very miserable childhood. Your father doesn't have that much of money to support you, and you become an IS officer. You can say like I'm leading a very luxurious lifestyle. I am flying high. It's not about flying high in the high altitude. It's not about altitudes. It is all about your you become successful. Suppose you have a suppose the first year it was not a good business for me, but this year I started to make a lot of profit. I can say I am flying high. So whether in business wise, it can be personal, it can be professional. In personal life, you can fly high. In business life also, you can fly high. A lot of things. Based on the situation, you can use. I have given an example. The company had some initial problems, but right now it's flying high. That means it becomes successful. Okay. So like that. Let me take you the second example. Come to a standstill. Comes to a standstill means something has stopped. Whenever something has stopped, we call it come to a standstill. That's an idiom. Okay. The production has come to a standstill because of the strike. You know very well, whenever there is a strike, what will happen? All the workers will not work. Then how the production will happen? The production completely zero. So that means the production has stopped. And in a different way, you can say that the production has come to a standstill because of the strike, right? So the vehicular movement come to a standstill due to a strike. Suppose there is a strike in an area by political party. There will be no vehicular, movement. It will be stopped completely because there will be barricades by the police. They will not allow you to move forward. So whenever there is a complete stoppage will be there, a lot of barricades will be there by the police force. So that time you can say the movement has come to a standstill. The vehicular movement come to a standstill means there is no vehicle on the road, at least. Because how they will move? There will be barricades, right? And the third one is very interesting, be on collision course. So what do you mean by collision? Try to understand. This is called collision. Okay. This is called collide. They collided. Just like hitting each other. This is called collide. It happens in accident. One car is going this way, another car is going this way, and there is a head-on collision. We call it head-on collision. But here, what do you mean by on collision course? Collision course means to behave in such a way that there is a likely cause major disagreement or war. Because you are coming the same way and this guy is coming the same way. So there will be an accident. Exactly same way. Suppose you are trying to say something. ଆପଣ କିଛି କହିବା ପାଇଁ ଚାହୁଁଛନ୍ତି. But ଆପଣଙ୍କର ଜଣେ ପ୍ରତିପକ୍ଷ ଲୋକ ଅଛି is always trying to negate your feelings, negate your statement. So obviously ଆପଣ ଭିତରେ ଝଗଡା ହବ. That is something called be on a collision course. Look, India and Pakistan are always on a collision course, taking Kashmir into account. Whatever Pakistan say, India always negative. And whatever India says in the international forum, the Pakistan has always a reservation, always protested. And that's why the two neighbors are always on collision course. They're always fighting. That means on collision course means they're always a fighting. There is a constant I mean, fighting going on between India and Pakistan, be it on sports field, whenever there is a cricket between India and Pakistan, you can understand. People go gaga over it. People are crazy for that match. Exactly why? Because there is a rivalry. There is no rivalry with Australia and other things. So that this kind of match doesn't create that much of enthusiasm among masses, right? The next one is something called do something on autopilot. So what do you mean by do something called autopilot? Let me tell you, my friends, what is autopilot? Something called pilot is there for to moving a plane, to operate a plane. Autopilot means whenever there is no personal involved in it. There is no person involvement. Suppose you go to an ATM center. What exactly happens? There is no man. It is an unmanned machine, you can say. That is called an unmanned machine. The machine will be there. You guys can take your plastic card, just insert it, try to put your secret button as per the instruction. You are trying to make some withdrawal, and that is something called automated machine. That is an automated machine, ATM, automated teller machine. Exactly. Sometimes I am trying to speak. Whenever I'm trying to speak English, words are coming automatically. And that is something called do something on autopilot. Look, I speak English on autopilot. What do you mean by that? Autopilot means a lot of things like a drone. The drones are very famous these days. What they do, there is no man. It is a unmanned machine. Okay. Only a person sitting somewhere else with the help of a remote control. He can control it. Right? So that is called something called autopilot. That means I speak English on autopilot. Means I don't struggle without thinking anything. I don't think a lot. A lot of things comes very automatically. Okay. So what I told you today, my friends, there are 12 such expressions are there. We call it idiom on transportation, right? And these are very, very important to speak English naturally. I've already informed you. To speak English naturally, you are supposed to speak, learn some binomials, idioms, expression, collocation, and phrasal verbs, right? I'm sure this small lesson is going to help you to improve your communication skill. That's very important, my friends. ଆପଣ ଭାବିବେନି ଯେ ଏମିତି ଛୋଟିଆ ଛୋଟିଆ ଜିନିଷ ଗୁଡାକ ସାର୍ ଆମେ ୟୁଜ କଲେ କଣ ହବ ଲାଇକ୍ atomic habits, a few small things. Today 12, another 12, like yesterday also I put around 12 such things, today also 12. So you are richer by some 24 vocabs, and these are very important for you to speak English naturally. You are supposed to speak using all the things. You cannot say like that. Let me give them here is one. Okay, you are losing interest and energy. You can say it's running out of steam. ଆପଣ ଗୋଟେ ଛୁଆଟେ ଆପଣଙ୍କର ପାଠ ପଢୁଛି, ଆମେ ଦେଖୁଥିବେ ସେ 5 ମିନିଟ ପଢୁଛି ଭୁଲି ଯାଇକି, ତ ଆପଣ କଣ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ତାର ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟ ଅଛି, ତାର ଏନର୍ଜି ଅଛି. So that particular time you can say, oh, most of the time my kid runs out of steam. What I'll do? You are supposed to say like this, and you become a laconic speaker. You become an advanced speaker. Like suppose you can say, like I'm planning to get married after 6 months. So if I'll tell you that, I can say 6 months down the line, I am planning to do something for my own sake, right? Suppose go off the rails. What happens? I don't know. Something happens with me, or something happens with you. Why you are going off the rails most of the time? So this is something called, suppose back on track. Oh my God. The previous things was a completely a disaster for me. Previous year was a disaster, but right now I'm back on track. That means I started, doing business, or I achieved something very great. So this is something called how exactly you guys can use it. And please start using it. And you have any questions, you can ask me. You have any question, you can ask me right away.